What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So season 28, we have the start date, we have the most recent update for the patch notes, what's going to be new, what's buffed, and what's going to be nerfed. So starting right off, let's go over the start date, which is why I think a lot of you guys clicked on this video. So it's called season 28 Rites of Sanctuary. So when does it actually start? Well, season 28 will go live on February 24th at 5 p.m. So very, very soon indeed. And basically what it comes down to is there is this new altar and you activate it and you're going to be getting a bunch of different bonuses. We'll go over briefly the bonuses in this video. However, I've made a dedicated video that goes in depth on how to get all these powers, but I'm mostly here to go over like the brief, shorter version of this. But going over the rewards over here, we have a new season journey set of rewards. We have a Primal Hunter portrait, which looks really cool. It's got all these different, looks like fusion of different like parts together. Very awesome. And then on top of that, we get a new Tayan. Then the tiny pet, which looks like it's some sort of dragon with angelic, like Tyrael wings. So that's going to be awesome to go ahead and obtain. And then as far as the season journey rewards, this is what we are required to do. But for the most part, I'm here to go over the newer changes. But what is actually important is actually the starter sets for the Haedrig's Gift to maybe determine which class you actually want to start off with. So right now, it's actually pretty easy for most classes to level up to 70, but getting the Haedrig's Gift, it will be a huge advantage if the build is able to clear out content very, very fast. So here are the sets. So with Barbarian, we have the Horde of the 90 Savages. You guys are seeing the Season 28 PTR gameplay in the background. This build is absolutely amazing. It basically doubled the amount of damage that you can deal with the Horde of 90 Savages, and it's a pretty satisfying build to play as well. Then we have the Aegis of Valor, the Fist of the Heavens, the Demon Hunter set, the Gears of Dreadlands, which just today they actually mentioned in Season 28, it's getting almost a double power in terms of like the numerical stats, which is actually quite big. And this is one of the best sets to do speed runs with, especially earlier on in the season. And then with Monk, we have the Patterns of Justice, which is another relatively fast build for Tempest Rush. And then with Witch Doctor, we have the Mundu Nugu's Regalia. Then the Wizard, we got the Typhoon's Veil. That's the Hydra build. That actually did receive a double multiplier in the buff department. And with the Necromancer, we have the Masquerade of the Burning Carnival, which really comes down to the Bone Spear build, which actually had multiple buffs as well. So a lot of these basically are newer things to play around with numbers in terms of they're all kind of buffed in some sort of a way for the most part, with most of them. Like Demon Hunter, the God is going to be amazing. And then again, with Wizard, I mentioned there's like a double multiplier. But there is, however, with Demon Hunter, a brand new rework to the Natalia set, which is a completely new build. So as far as the patch notes, let's go over what the heck the new changes are. So like I mentioned before, Season 28, there's this new altar. You'll activate it. It's in Act 1. Again, I'll have a full detailed guide that will be pinned down below if you guys want to go in depth into it. But basically, you do a set of like quests, or you sacrifice, let's say, blood shards or certain things in the game, and then you're going to be able to obtain these special powers. Now, they did actually get a small buff, but there's also a major nerf. So these are all of the buffs that you can get by sacrificing a certain thing. So it kind of is a skill tree, and you're going to be working your way down towards the bottom, and some of the bottom ones are going to be very, very powerful. So they've buffed them a little bit. So we have a plus 10% damage increase. We have a huge buff over here for the progress orbs to be automatically collected, which is quite nice. And then we have another plus 15% damage. So 15% and another 10%. So it's 25% increased damage overall. This is going to be a nice buff for multiple classes. Just picks up your orbs automatically. But there is a relatively big nerf with the potion AC, which is at the very bottom. It's arguably the best thing in the entire game, because you could just hit your spacebar, or, well, that's what I have bound to my potion. You hit your potion, and you're going to be able to instantly get yourself a power pylon, which is huge, right? If any of you guys have played Diablo, you know that those conduits do a lot of work. So now it's being changed. When you drink a health potion, you gain a random shrine or the dimensional power pylon effect. Now, as far as I'm aware of, in terms of like the dimensional power, let me know if this is not the correct one, because it says dimensional. But this over here, as far as the other pylons, this increases your damage by 400%. Now, before you could get like shielding, you could get things like conduit, which would absolutely obliterate the entire rift. However, you're not going to be able to gain this. Now, if you're wondering, does this effect work? Previously, it did work with the Flavor of Time, and it did work with the Gloves of Worship. So if you were able to get a shrine, you'd have that benefit in a GR, which was huge. So now they're changing, so you get 16 seconds of the Dimensional Power Pylon, which is the 400% multiplier. I'm not sure if this one, because it specifically specifies 16 seconds, if this one also works with Flavor of Time. I'll do some testing and give you guys the numbers. But for the most part, this is going to be overall a nerf in most departments. Yeah, you can only get this one, so you don't get certain things like shielding, which you might not actually really need for your build, but overall it would be definitely considered a nerf. Now, on top of that, it talks about how they work. You just, like I said, I explained that you're going to have to sacrifice certain things, whether it's like a greater retreat key, blood shards, different sources of materials. That's how you get it. Now, one of the things did get changed. You were required before to get never-ending questions, which was not an easy thing to get. Now they've changed it so it's a 4-tome of set dungeon pages from your class. See the chart below for more information. So as far as I'm aware of, it makes it so it says, we agree that obtaining never-ending questions was more difficult than desired. We decided to direct players to collect the necessary sets to enter the set dungeon and provide proof at the Altar of Right. So that's much, much easier. It's going to be more consistent. Now, I went over the rewards. I actually got it on the PTR, but once you unlock all of the powers from the rites, you will be able to get yourself some brand new Diablo wings. These look absolutely amazing. It's basically from Diablo, the main boss of Diablo 3. You get the wings. So that's pretty cool. There's another brand new thing called Primordial Ashes, where if you sacrifice a primal item, you'll get 55 of these primal ashes, and it costs 100 to actually make a primal. Now, you can only equip one primal in the game, so keep that in mind as well. That is crafted, so you can craft your primals now with this feature, which is a very nice thing to have. So if it doesn't roll well, though, you can then just salvage it and get more ashes, and then you're able to craft it again. So it's actually pretty easy to craft your weapon slot, which is probably the most desirable piece of gear. Or if you're maybe playing a build that runs Demon Hunter, yeah, the quiver could be an excellent thing to go ahead and have as your crafted primal. Remember, you can only equip one crafted primal, but you can equip multiple primals still in the game, if that makes any sense. I have a detailed video that explains like all these features, but in terms of the monk changes, no changes with the monk here from the last PTR. There is a change with the demon hunter. So I've mentioned before that, and we've uploaded gameplay of the brand new spike demon hunter build. It turned out to be more of a different variant of a god DH that did way more damage, but now it's being reworked again. So we have basically another brand new set for the demon hunter. So here's what the new set does. So it's a Natalia set, but it's completely reworked. It has nothing to do with like Reign of Vengeance anymore. What it has to do now with is spike trap, but it's being changed. So before, if you hit an enemy, it would automatically just place a spike trap, which is really good. It was basically a strafe build, right? And then on top of that, we have the additional change with spike trap dealing a massive amount of extra damage, but now spike trap now instantly refreshes charges on use, no longer costs resource, and each detonation restores 2 discipline. So it comes down to you're actually going to have to manually cast this. Now, what are the other changes here? So the damage reduction got increased. It used to be 60% damage reduction. Now it makes it so you gain 75% damage reduction. So that's like I would say that's a buff in the squishiness department, because you're going to be needing to get closer so you can actually manually place these traps. Before, you would just spin around with strafe and it would just start laying all these traps all over the screen, and it was satisfying, but it was a little bit too OP. So they've changed it also the 6-piece bonus. So now with the 6-piece bonus, you still deal 10,000% increased damage. So it's still the same amount of numbers, but it doesn't auto cast, which is actually the biggest thing. However, they've compensated it with another buff, where it makes it so each consecutive explosion from the detonated chain reaction will deal 25% more damage than the previous blast. So we do have some sort of, I guess, a buff and a nerf. So I'm curious to see how it plays. I'm definitely going to say that it will not feel as smooth, but it at least has a different playstyle. Now, if we're a huge fan of the Spin to Win, the God Demon Hunter, the Gears of Dreadlands, that actually got a buff. So it's not really that big of a deal if you like that playstyle, because here it is, the Gears of Dreadland buff. So it used to deal 15,000% increased damage. Now it's 27.5 100% increase damage. So basically almost doubling the power of the Gears of Dreadland. So that's great. And then they also mentioned that the bonus doesn't work with Spike Trap with the Shadow Mantle. This was really OP. They actually had a specific blue post that was mentioning during the PTR that it's not going to work. So I think a lot of people expected this change, but it is official now in the notes. Pattern of Justice, no change over there, but this actually got to increase as well with the damage, I believe, from the last notes, but no change with that. So if you were happy with the POG monk, yeah, or the Pattern of Justice monk, you'll be a-okay, good to go. And then the Masquerade of the Burning Carnival, which is the Hadrig's gift. So Bone Spirit now deals 9,000% increased damage, and Simulacrums gain a triple this bonus. So nice little buff with that. Now, Witch Doctor also got a nice little change over here. Unfortunately, Crusader, no notes here. But Spirit Barrage, the rune is summoning a specter that hovers over you, unleashing a spirit bolts nearby enemies for, used to deal 6,000, and it's now more than double, so 14,000% weapon damage as cold over a set duration. And then with the wizard, we have an increased damage, and this is here to stay. It was 2,000, and then now it is 4,000. But as far as Crusader goes, I was really curious to see what did Crusader get with this, and this just mentions the sacrificing. So there is no updates with the Crusader. So here's my suggestions, because a lot of people always ask, you know, what is the best class to go ahead and play? Obviously, you get to play the class that you want to, and this season, a lot of things are getting buffed over here. I would say the one that got the shorter end of the stick, obviously Crusader over here, because there's not really any change in terms of like numerical stats as well. Every other class got something. If you are a Diablo fan, you've been playing this game every single season, I would say probably start out with the Demon Hunter. I know there's a strategy right now where a lot of people are starting off a Necromancer and they re-roll once they get the power from Season 28, which I may make a guide that goes over like the best power leveling method, but for the most part, I would say Demon Hunter always has a fantastic start with the ability to get either the Fan of Knives or the Carly's Point with the Impale Dagger build. Like, you're guaranteed to get an item that's going to give you a massive multiplier, but pretty much once you get to, I believe is level 18, you're going to be able to obtain the ability to equip a level 70 item. So pretty much any class past 18, you're going to be flying through content. So in terms of your progression, I wouldn't worry too much about like this hitting level 70 progression with any of the classes, because again, you'll be able to equip everything. Now, I do want to mention that there are certain classes that will be able to be way faster than others. Like the Hydra build compared to the GOD build, completely different stats. Same thing with even like the Necromancer, with the amount of damage that you can output. It's huge. You can start clearing out GRs a lot faster, higher GRs. But I would say I would really recommend the Patterns of Justice or the Gears of Dreadlands. I think those are excellent choices because those are very fast builds. Monk is a very fast class in general if you're looking to clear out content. Barbarian's kind of cool too, especially because Bloodshed lets you just clean up content with the Horde of 90 Savages. So I would look out for those three, I would say. If you're looking to just climb a bunch of GRs, get maybe 1,000 to 2,000 Paragons, and then maybe swap to another class that you enjoy more, because sometimes in Diablo it's better to roll a certain class. But those are at least my little like tips and suggestions for you guys. If you guys are just interested in maybe just getting the progression down, completing this entire thing, and then rolling the class, because you're going to have to do bounties, you're going to have to do certain things that require you to maybe do other parts of the game that you may not want to do on another class. But anyways, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for the video. And also, really important thing, I'm glad I didn't forget this, there's going to be a Diablo event that is going to be on IGN tomorrow. I'll give you guys the too long, didn't watch version of it, because I'll watch all of it. I guess it's going to be quite long. But yeah, there's going to be a Diablo 4 announcement. My guess is actually the beta start date, which I'm excited about, or maybe they'll talk more about that Paragon board or something else, but I'll be covering that as well, literally, which will be tomorrow. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like on it, and if you're excited about Season 28, yeah, we'll be making more videos and guides very soon on the channel. So if you're new here and would like to see that, subscribe to that bell, and good luck on Season 28 with those primals. See you in the next one. Have a good one. Peace.